a world full of dating advice that tells you to play games, send mixed signals, and mold yourself into the perfect partner, what if the real secret to attracting love lies in something much deeper? Imagine a life where you don't chase after approval, where your happiness isn't tied to someone else's affection, and where you're not losing yourself in the process of finding love. Sounds liberating, right? That's exactly what the ancient Stoic philosophers taught us over 2,000 years ago, and their wisdom is more relevant today than ever before. You see, Stoicism doesn't just teach us how to survive tough times, it teaches us how to thrive, how to be independent, how to manage our emotions, and how to live with purpose. But here's the part no one talks about. These same principles make you irresistibly attractive without you even trying. It's not about playing hard to get or following some formula. It's about becoming the kind of person who draws others in naturally because you've built a solid foundation within yourself. You're not pretending to be confident. You are confident. You're not faking emotional control. You've mastered it. And the best part? You don't have to compromise who you are to find love. In fact, by embracing Stoicism, you become more of who you are, and that's where true attraction begins. Take a second and think about this. How many times have you tried to impress someone by over-explaining, oversharing, or overcompensating? Maybe you sent that extra text, filled the silence with unnecessary words, or changed your behavior to fit what you thought they wanted. How did that make you feel afterward? Exhausted, right? The truth is, when we chase, we push people away. But what if I told you that by doing less, by being more intentional, and by focusing on building your inner strength, you could naturally attract the right person into your life? Without any games or tactics? That's the power of Stoicism. The Stoics understood that true happiness and fulfillment don't come from external sources, and that includes romantic relationships. They taught that our peace, our self-worth, and our sense of purpose should come from within, not from someone else's validation. And once you've mastered that, people will notice. You'll stand out, not because you're trying to, but because you've developed an aura of calm, confidence, and self-assuredness that makes others want to be around you. You're not needy, you're not desperate, you're not chasing anyone, and that's exactly what makes you magnetic. So, what does that look like in practice? It starts with a shift in mindset. Instead of focusing on what others think of you, focus on how you can cultivate your own emotional, mental, and spiritual independence. The Stoics believed that if you don't control your emotions, they will control you. And let's be honest, nothing is more attractive than someone who is calm, centered, and unshakable in the face of life's ups and downs. Imagine being the person who, when everyone else is panicking, remains composed. When someone tries to provoke you, you don't react impulsively. You take a breath, reflect, and respond thoughtfully. That's the kind of emotional mastery Stoicism offers. And in a world full of emotional volatility, that kind of stability is rare and highly desirable. Now think about how you communicate. The Stoics believed in being intentional with their words. In a time where everyone is constantly texting, calling, or posting on social media, Stoicism teaches you to pause, to speak only when necessary, and to embrace the power of silence. You don't need to fill every gap with words or feel anxious when there's a moment of quiet between you and the person you're interested in. Silence creates intrigue. It gives the other person space to think about you, to miss you. You're not playing hard to get, you're simply valuing your time and energy enough to avoid over-communicating. This isn't about manipulation. It's about understanding that the less you try to impress someone, the more impressive you actually become. What's even more powerful is how Stoicism teaches you to manage your own life, outside of relationships. Instead of waiting for someone else to make you feel complete, you're already complete. Your life is full of things that bring you joy, fulfillment, and purpose. You have passions, hobbies, goals, and friendships that make you feel alive. The Stoics would say, don't wait for someone else to give you meaning, create it yourself. This doesn't just make you more attractive to others, it makes you more attractive to yourself. You'll wake up every day excited to live your life, not because of someone else's presence, but because you've built a life that's meaningful on its own. And ironically, when people see that you're thriving, they're naturally drawn to you. It's not about chasing after love. It's about becoming someone who doesn't need to chase. Rule number 1. The magical Stoic independence. Let's start with the core of Stoic philosophy: independence. Imagine living a life where your happiness isn't tied to anyone else, where you aren't waiting for someone to validate your worth or give you a sense of purpose. Stoic independence is about being emotionally, mentally, and spiritually self-sufficient. This doesn't mean isolating yourself or avoiding love. It's the opposite. It means that you're already whole and you're not looking for someone to complete you. In modern relationships, we often fall into the trap of thinking that we need someone to make us happy, to feel fulfilled. But the Stoics believe that relying on external factors for our happiness, whether it's a romantic partner, a job, or material possessions, sets us up for disappointment. People change, circumstances shift, and the moment we give away the responsibility for our happiness, we lose control over it. When you cultivate Stoic independence, you stop needing validation from others. Instead of relying on a partner for emotional support, you develop your own inner strength. This independence is incredibly attractive. People are drawn to those who are self-sufficient, confident, and comfortable in their own skin. You're not seeking approval because you've already given it to yourself. You're not chasing anyone because your life is already rich with meaning and fulfillment. Imagine how different your relationships would be if you entered them from a place of wholeness, where you're not trying to fill a void, but instead sharing your already fulfilling life with someone else. The person who can stand on their own, who doesn't need constant reassurance, who doesn't crumble when things get tough, that's the person others are naturally drawn to. That's the power of Stoic independence. Rule number 2, the less is more approach to communication. In today's world, we've grown accustomed to constant communication. We send texts, post updates, and fill every moment with some form of digital interaction. It's almost as if silence makes us uncomfortable. But here's the thing. The more you talk, the less you say. The Stoics knew this, and they practiced intentional communication. Epictetus famously said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we should listen more than we speak." This approach to communication doesn't mean playing mind games or purposefully withholding attention. It's about being intentional with your words. In a relationship, this means not feeling the need to fill every silence or over-explain yourself. You don't have to respond to every message instantly or bombard someone with updates about your day. Instead, you allow space for reflection, for thought, and for anticipation. Think about the most meaningful conversations you've had. Were they the ones where you talked nonstop? Probably not. The most impactful moments often happen when you listen deeply, speak with purpose, and let silence work its magic. Stoicism teaches us that less is more. When you give someone space, space to think, space to feel, space to miss you, it builds intrigue. You create a sense of calm and confidence in your communication, showing that you don't need to constantly prove yourself or demand attention. In the world of modern dating, where over-communication is common and often overwhelming, intentional silence can be a breath of fresh air. It's not about being cold or distant. It's about giving your interactions more weight, more meaning. When you speak, it's with purpose. When you listen, it's with presence. And when you're silent, it's with the confidence that the space between words is just as powerful as the words themselves. Rule number 3, showing unshakable emotional stability. One of the most attractive qualities anyone can possess, especially in the modern world, is emotional stability. We live in a time where emotions often run high. People are quick to react, quick to anger, quick to fear. But what if you could be the person who remains calm when everyone else is losing their composure? What if you could be the person who faces life's challenges without letting your emotions dictate your actions? The Stoics were masters of this. They believed that while we can't control the events that happen to us, we can always control how we respond. When you develop emotional stability, you stop letting the ups and downs of life control your mood, your decisions, or your relationships. Instead of reacting impulsively when something goes wrong, you take a moment to pause, reflect, and choose your response wisely. In relationships, this is especially powerful. Think about how often misunderstandings or conflicts escalate because of emotional reactions. One person says something hurtful in the heat of the moment. The other responds with anger, and suddenly a small issue becomes a big problem. But when you have stoic emotional stability, you don't fall into that trap. You don't let your emotions control your actions. You stay calm, grounded, and focused on finding a solution rather than escalating the problem. People are naturally drawn to those who have this kind of composure. When you can stay calm under pressure, you show that you are confident, reliable, and secure. You become a source of stability in a world full of chaos. In a relationship, this makes you someone others can trust and rely on. Someone who won't crumble when things get tough. Someone who will face challenges with resilience and grace. The Stoics believe that true strength lies not in never feeling emotion, but in mastering how we respond to it. And when you can do that, when you show unshakable emotional stability, you become not only more attractive, but also more capable of building strong, lasting relationships. Rule number 4. Keep your life busy. One of the biggest mistakes people make in relationships is centering their entire life around another person. You've probably heard the saying, nobody is attracted to someone who has nothing going on in their life, and it's true. When your life revolves solely around another person, it can come across as needy and, frankly, unattractive. The Stoics, however, teach us the opposite. Build a life that is full and rich on its own. Keep your life busy. Pursue your passions, your goals, your friendships, and your growth. Your romantic life should complement your existing life, not replace it. Think about the people you're drawn to. Are they the ones who sit around waiting for your attention, or are they the ones who are fully engaged in their own world, pursuing their dreams, traveling, learning, growing? A full, interesting life naturally draws others in. When you have your own purpose, your own ambitions, you radiate a sense of fulfillment and independence. You show that you are not waiting for someone to bring excitement into your life because you've already created that excitement for yourself. The Stoics believed in the value of focusing on what you can control, and one of the things you can always control is how you spend your time. Fill your days with activities that enrich you, that make you feel alive. Whether it's pursuing your career goals, diving into hobbies, or spending quality time with friends and family, make sure your life is full. This not only makes you more attractive, but also keeps you from becoming too dependent on another person for your happiness. When your life is busy and fulfilling, something magical happens. You become less available, not because you're playing hard to get, but because you genuinely have other things going on. This naturally creates a healthy distance in relationships, a balance between being present and giving space. When you're fully engaged in your own life, you bring more to the table in your relationships. You become someone who has stories to share, experiences to talk about, and a life worth joining. Rule number 5, be present, not needy. In relationships, one of the most important yet difficult balances to strike is between being present and not being needy. We've all experienced those moments where we want more attention, more validation, or more reassurance from someone we care about. But the truth is, the more you cling to someone, the more likely you are to push them away. The Stoics believed that true happiness comes from enjoying the present moment without anxious dependence on the future. What does this mean in the context of love? It means showing up fully when you're with someone, being engaged, attentive, and connected, but not relying on them for constant validation or support. It's about being able to enjoy the time you spend together without worrying about what it means for the future or whether they'll stick around. Being present shows that you value the person you're with and that you appreciate the moment for what it is, not for what it could become. On the other hand, neediness comes from a place of insecurity. It's the fear that if you don't hold on tightly, the person might slip away. But here's the irony. The tighter you hold on, the more likely they are to pull back. People are naturally drawn to those who are secure in themselves, who can be present without being overly attached. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control. And in relationships, we can't control how someone feels or behaves. We can only control our own actions and our own mindset. By practicing being present without being needy, you create a sense of balance and freedom in the relationship. You're not constantly seeking reassurance because you're secure in yourself. You're able to give the other person space without feeling anxious or uncertain. And when you do spend time together, it's meaningful, it's rich, and it's grounded in genuine connection, not in a desperate need for attention. Rule number 6, the social media mastery. In today's digital age, social media has become an integral part of how we present ourselves to the world, and often to potential romantic partners. It's tempting to use social media as a tool to gain validation, to document every moment of our lives, or to try to impress others with carefully curated images and posts. But Stoicism teaches us the importance of restraint and intentionality. Just because we can share every detail of our lives doesn't mean we should. Think about it. When was the last time you saw someone constantly posting every aspect of their day online? Did it make you more interested in them, or did it start to feel like too much? The Stoics would tell us that less is more. By oversharing, we dilute the mystery and intrigue that naturally draws people in. When everything is out in the open, there's no space left for curiosity, for wondering, for interest to grow. Social media can easily become a trap, a place where we seek validation through likes, comments, and shares, or where we constantly compare ourselves to others. The Stoics remind us that our worth is not determined by external validation, but by how we live according to our values. When you stop posting for approval and start living your life for yourself, something shifts. You begin to experience life fully without the need to document every moment. Mastering social media with a Stoic mindset means using it purposefully. Post less, and when you do post, let it be something meaningful. Resist the urge to broadcast every moment, and instead, focus on living your life fully offline. People are naturally drawn to those who don't seek validation from others, and when your social media presence is intentional and understated, you convey a sense of confidence and authenticity that is incredibly attractive. Rule number 7, the power of authenticity. One of the most liberating lessons from Stoicism is the power of authenticity, the ability to be completely and unapologetically yourself. In a world where people are constantly trying to fit into molds, trying to impress others, or trying to live up to unrealistic expectations, authenticity is rare and refreshing. The Stoics believe that pretending to be something you're not is a direct path to inner conflict and unhappiness. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." In other words, stop trying to be what you think others want you to be, and instead, focus on being true to yourself. When it comes to relationships, this principle is crucial. Think about how exhausting it is to constantly second-guess yourself, to filter your thoughts, or to act in ways that don't feel genuine just to make someone else happy. The truth is, people are attracted to realness. We all crave connection, and genuine connection can only happen when we're being our true selves. When you embrace your quirks, your imperfections, and your values without shame, you give others permission to do the same. The Stoics believed in living in accordance with nature, that is, living in a way that is true to your essence. In relationships, this means showing up fully as yourself without trying to mold yourself into someone else's expectations. It means being honest about your thoughts and feelings, even when it's uncomfortable. It means not pretending to like something just to fit in, and not suppressing your true personality to make others feel more comfortable. Authenticity builds trust, and trust builds lasting love. When you're true to yourself, you attract people who appreciate and love you for who you are, not for who you pretend to be. Rule number 8, embracing impermanence. One of the core teachings of Stoicism is the concept of impermanence, the idea that everything in life is fleeting, and that change is the only constant. The Stoics encouraged us to reflect on the fact that nothing lasts forever, not our successes, not our failures, and not our relationships. At first, this might sound like a harsh or depressing idea, but the Stoics saw it as incredibly freeing. When you embrace the impermanence of life, you stop clinging to things that are beyond your control, and you learn to appreciate the present moment more fully. In relationships, this is a game changer. So often, we cling to people out of fear of being alone, fear of losing them, fear of the unknown. But Stoicism teaches us to love without attachment, to appreciate the people in our lives without trying to control them or hold on too tightly. The more we accept that everything is temporary, the more we can enjoy the beauty of what we have while it lasts. Imagine how different your relationships would be if instead of worrying about where things were going or whether someone was going to leave, you could simply enjoy the connection for what it is, right now. By embracing impermanence, you stop trying to force the future and instead focus on making the present as rich and meaningful as possible. This doesn't mean you care less, it means you love more freely. You're not holding back out of fear, and you're not smothering the other person with your expectations. You're simply living in the moment, appreciating the time you have together, and letting the future unfold as it may. Rule number 9, controlling what you can, letting go of the rest. One of the most powerful and practical lessons from Stoicism is the idea of focusing only on what you can control and letting go of everything else. This concept is simple, yet life-changing. So much of our stress, anxiety, and frustration comes from trying to control things that are beyond our reach, whether it's other people's opinions, their actions, or even the future. The Stoics remind us that the only things we truly have control over are our own thoughts, actions, and reactions. In relationships, this principle is a breath of fresh air. How often do we get caught up in trying to control how someone feels about us, or trying to change someone's behavior to fit our expectations? The truth is, we can't control how someone else thinks or acts. What we can control is how we show up in the relationship, how we choose to communicate, how we react to challenges, and how we take responsibility for our own happiness. Letting go of the need to control everything is not about giving up or being passive. It's about shifting your focus to what truly matters. When you stop wasting energy trying to change things you can't control, you free yourself to focus on becoming the best version of yourself. You can approach your relationships with more patience, understanding, and grace because you're not trying to manipulate the outcome. You're simply doing your best and trusting that the rest will fall into place as it should. The Stoics believed that peace of mind comes from accepting the things we cannot change and putting our energy into what we can, our actions, our mindset, and our behavior. In relationships, this means showing up authentically, expressing your needs and feelings, and then letting go of the need to control the outcome. It's about trusting that whatever happens, you'll be okay, because your inner peace doesn't depend on external circumstances. It comes from within. Rule number 9. Controlling what you can, letting go of the rest. One of the most powerful and practical lessons from Stoicism is the idea of focusing only on what you can control and letting go of everything else. This concept is simple, yet life-changing. So much of our stress, anxiety, and frustration comes from trying to control things that are beyond our reach, whether it's other people's opinions, their actions, or even the future. The Stoics remind us that the only things we truly have control over are our own thoughts, actions, and reactions. In relationships, this principle is a breath of fresh air. How often do we get caught up in trying to control how someone feels about us, or trying to change someone's behavior to fit our expectations? The truth is, we can't control how someone else thinks or acts. What we can control is how we show up in the relationship, how we choose to communicate, how we react to challenges, and how we take responsibility for our own happiness. Letting go of the need to control everything is not about giving up or being passive. It's about shifting your focus to what truly matters. When you stop wasting energy trying to change things you can't control, you free yourself to focus on becoming the best version of yourself. You can approach your relationships with more patience, understanding, and grace because you're not trying to manipulate the outcome. You're simply doing your best and trusting that the rest will fall into place as it should. The Stoics believed that peace of mind comes from accepting the things we cannot change and putting our energy into what we can, our actions, our mindset, and our behavior. In relationships, this means showing up authentically, expressing your needs and feelings, and then letting go of the need to control the outcome. It's about trusting that whatever happens, you'll be okay, because your inner peace doesn't depend on external circumstances. It comes from within. Rule number 10, the art of patience. Slow down to build something real. In today's fast-paced world, we've grown accustomed to getting everything instantly, whether it's food, entertainment, or even relationships. But real, meaningful connections take time to develop, and patience is a virtue that's often overlooked. The Stoics believed in the power of patience, seeing it as a sign of inner strength and wisdom. Seneca wrote, "Time discovers truth," reminding us that rushing through life often leads us to miss out on the deeper, more meaningful aspects of our experiences. When it comes to love, patience is crucial. In a world where relationships often start fast and fizzle out even faster, taking the time to truly get to know someone can make all the difference. Patience allows you to build a relationship on a solid foundation, rather than superficial attraction. It gives you the space to let things unfold naturally, without the pressure of rushing into labels, commitments, or expectations. Patience also shows that you're not desperate or needy. You're willing to take the time to see how things develop, and that calm confidence is attractive. It shows emotional maturity and the ability to handle uncertainty without forcing outcomes. When you're patient, you're saying to the other person, "I value this connection enough to let it grow at its own pace." You're also saying to yourself, "I trust that what's meant for me will come in due time." By practicing the Stoic art of patience, you stop pushing for immediate results and instead focus on building something real, something lasting. And in a world where everyone is in a rush, your willingness to slow down will set you apart. Rule number 11, detachment from outcomes. Finding freedom in love. One of the most liberating Stoic principles is the idea of detachment from outcomes. The Stoics taught that while we can control our actions, we can't control the results. This concept is especially powerful when applied to relationships. So often we enter into relationships with specific expectations or hopes for how things will turn out. But when we become overly attached to a particular outcome, whether it's making someone love us, getting a commitment, or reaching a certain milestone, we create unnecessary stress and pressure, both for ourselves and for the other person. Detaching from outcomes doesn't mean you don't care. It means you're not fixated on a specific result. You're not trying to force things to happen a certain way or within a certain time frame. Instead, you're focusing on what you can control. How you show up in the relationship, how you communicate, how you invest your time and energy. The rest? That's out of your hands. This kind of detachment is incredibly attractive because it shows that you're secure in yourself. You're not relying on the relationship to validate your worth or to make you happy. You're willing to let things unfold naturally, and you trust that whatever happens, you'll be okay. This approach removes the pressure from both sides, creating a space where love can grow freely without the weight of unrealistic expectations. The Stoics would remind us that true freedom in love comes from focusing on the present and letting go of the future. By embracing this mindset, you stop worrying about what's to come and start enjoying what's happening right now. And that kind of presence, that kind of calm, is magnetic. Rule number 12, practicing gratitude. Appreciating what you have right now. Gratitude is one of the most powerful Stoic practices, and it's also one of the most transformative when it comes to relationships. In modern life, it's easy to fall into the trap of always wanting more affection, more attention, more commitment. But the Stoics teach us to focus on what we already have instead of constantly seeking what we don't. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not indulge in dreams of having what you do not have, but reckon up the chief of the blessings you do possess." In relationships, practicing gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing to what's present. Instead of fixating on how you wish things were different or comparing your relationship to some idealized version of love, you learn to appreciate the moments you have, the connection you share, and the small gestures that bring joy. Gratitude helps you to see your partner, or potential partner, through a lens of appreciation rather than criticism or dissatisfaction. When you're grateful, you're more present, more engaged, and more content. You stop chasing after things you think you need to feel happy and start recognizing the happiness that's already available to you. This doesn't mean you ignore issues or settle for less than you deserve. It means you cultivate an attitude of appreciation, which can strengthen your bond and deepen your connection. Gratitude is also infectious. When you express gratitude in your relationship, it often inspires the other person to do the same. It It creates a positive cycle of appreciation and mutual respect, which is the foundation of any strong relationship. In a world that often focuses on what's lacking, gratitude reminds us to cherish what we have right now. Attracting love in today's fast-paced, emotionally volatile world can feel overwhelming, but Stoicism offers a path that's both timeless and transformative. By embracing Stoic independence, you learn to cultivate your own happiness and worth from within. By practicing intentional communication, you create space for meaningful connections without the pressure of constant validation. And by mastering emotional stability, you show up in relationships with calm, strength, and resilience, qualities that naturally draw others in. These principles don't just make you more attractive to others, they make you more centered and fulfilled as a person. When you live according to Stoic values, you stop chasing love and start embodying the qualities that foster genuine, lasting connections. You become someone who doesn't just rely on others for happiness, but brings happiness into every relationship through self-mastery and emotional balance. We've covered so much: patience, authenticity, detachment from outcomes, gratitude, all of which can profoundly impact how you approach love and life. Stoicism teaches us that true attraction begins from within, and the more you focus on becoming your best self, the more naturally love will come to you. There's no need for games or manipulation, just living with purpose, confidence, and emotional resilience. If this resonates with you and you're ready to dive deeper into how Stoic philosophy can transform your love life and beyond, hit the subscribe button and join the Stoic Affinity community. Together, we'll explore more ways to apply ancient wisdom to modern challenges, whether it's relationships, personal growth, or finding peace in a chaotic world. Leave a comment below and share. What Stoic principle are you most excited to start applying in your own relationships? Let's have a conversation and grow together as we embark on this journey toward becoming our best selves.